Okay, good afternoon. A little bit of housekeeping stuff first. Hopefully you all saw the email or the posting where I changed week number 4 that you did not have to calculate the Z-score. That was my mistake to show that on the video because it wasn't one of the questions that you were being asked, and it has caused some confusion, which was good that a particular student reached out to me on that, and so I changed that you did not have to do it. Just you only have to answer the questions that are in the textbook. So moving forward, I wanted to evaluate some of the questions because some of these things get into some very heavy statistics, which is not a requirement of this course. So I have some issues with how difficult the text is. So I'm going to do these videos before each of the homework assignments, and hopefully that'll help clarify some things for you. So I have changed the week 5 assignment to be, rather than number 18 for chapter 5, we're going to do number 1 for chapter 5. So what you see on your screen is actually the answer to number 1. So in number 1, they have you look at the call center data, and they have a claim, which is the null hypothesis, that a reporter says the average tenure is no more than 2 years. And you're to formulate and test the hypothesis using the data to see if you can dispute this claim. So some of these calculations are pretty heavy. So what I wanted to do was just kind of show you this answer. Now you are to formulate your own null hypothesis. So this null hypothesis, perform your own test. So the null hypothesis is 2 years, 2. So that would be 2. You're looking at a level of significance here, no more than 0.05 or a 95% confidence level. The sample size, the mean, and the standard deviation. And then down here is where you'll see there are formulas, and you'll have access to those formulas. So I just want to talk a minute about a hypothesis so that you understand kind of where we're coming from with testing this data. So a hypothesis is going to be a premise or a claim that we need to test, and it could be anything. In this particular one, it's the call center and a reporter claiming that nobody stays longer than 2 years. So which means that they stay less than or equal to 2 years. So you're going to want a null hypothesis. You'll see in the textbook, these are indicated by an H with the sub-zero. That in statistics is always going to be the null hypothesis, and that is the claim that you're testing. Now, hypothesis testing is kind of like when you go to court. You watch CSI or whatever, innocent until proven guilty. So a null hypothesis is accepted as true unless you can prove that it's false. So if you can't prove it's false, it stays true. An alternative hypothesis is the other side of that. Now, in some of the videos, you'll notice that they use H sub A for the alternative hypothesis that you're going to test. So in this case, we'll test that they do in fact stay longer than 2 years. Or that's the alternative, sorry. In the textbook and some other places, you might see them use the letter A, so that's H sub A. So when you're testing a hypothesis, you have 2 things that can happen. You either reject the null hypothesis, or you fail to reject the null hypothesis. That doesn't mean you prove the alternative, you just can't reject it. So that's what you're testing. Can we reject this hypothesis? Can we reject this statement? The statement is nobody stays, your people don't tend to stay less than or equal to 2 years. Can we reject that, or can we not reject it? We're going to do a calculation from the data set on the call center, which is over here. So this is the call center, and again, this whole thing will be posted. And that's a sample of the callers, and you can you can see on there, like how to get an average, etc. And we want to look at whether things are statistically significant or not. So that's basically what I'm going to tell you here. What your homework assignment is not to do this, which is what number 1 is. It's to answer these 3 questions. And the first one is, next to each of the lines above, describe what the number means and or what's being calculated. So I just went through some of this with you. You can see these are easy calculations to make. For instance, sample size, you just need call center and how many are in the sample. And then these are actual calculations. So you can look up here, standard error of mean, and see what the actual calculation is up here. And I just want you to tell me what they're calculating, or what the calculation is. So just describe this to me in words, not it's B8 divided by the square root of B6. Like in words, tell me what they're doing up there. The second thing is to briefly describe simple hypothesis testing. Now, I gave you a super brief rundown of it, but please watch the videos that I posted that give you something more in depth. I'm looking here for maybe a paragraph or so. And then the third question, which is extra credit, is the reporter's claim accurate? So looking at this data and comparing it to the charts that are in your book, or taking a look at the videos, like I said, to see how the test goes. Is it accurate? Why or why not? That can be simply, it is accurate, here's why. It's not accurate, here's why, and that's extra credit, but you don't have to do it. So that's the homework assignment for this week. If you have any questions, please reach out and I'll post this for you. Have a good night.